Welcome Catanians to the first Catan Console Edition roadmap. We're going to aim to do one of these every 3 months, and we'll be looking to discuss quality of life improvements, features, content, and loads more that's coming up in the future. The roadmap will be split into chapters, starting with Next Turn. Next Turn is content that we expect to release in the next 3 months. On the horizon is content we're actively developing and will likely come between 3 to 6 months from now, and Longest Road is content that we are in the early stages of planning and development and will likely come 6+ months from now. As with any roadmap, everything we are about to discuss is subject to change. Some things may come later, some things may even come earlier than expected. There is, though, plenty to be excited about, so let's roll on into it, starting with Next Turn. Next Turn. Next Turn is content we expect to release in the next 3 months. Now, since launching on February 23rd, we've seen loads of fantastic suggestions, ideas, and feedback from you, our resident Catanians. By far the most common suggestion has been for a turn timer in online multiplayer games. Now, we understand the importance of being able to keep multiplayer games moving, and we want to make sure that our turn timer is both functional, sensible, and customizable. So to ensure that this is the case, we wanted to make sure that our turn timer does a few things. For one, it needs to be visually represented in-game so that it's clear for all players how long is left on any given turn. 2, we are adding a 3-strike system. If a player fails to complete their turn within the allotted 90 seconds 3 times, they will be removed from the game and be replaced by an AI player. 3, customizable to give you the freedom to define turn limits when in local games and private online games. When joining the online multiplayer queue, this 90-second turn timer will always be present as default. For local games and private online games via the Join Create menu, there'll be various options for you to choose from to give you different ways to experience Catan Console Edition with your friends and family. We expect to have this turn timer out with you between the middle and end of April. If you haven't already, be sure to check out our patch notes either at CatanConsoleEdition.com or via the in-game menu via the profile option. In these patch notes, we have a dedicated section for community feedback called Your Feedback. Here we'll do our best to keep you up to date on everything that we're working on based on your feedback. 5 to 6 player expansion. As I'm sure you are aware, Catan at its core is a 3 to 4 player game, but it can be expanded to cater for up to 5 to 6 players, and that is exactly what we are going to do. This will expand the island of Catan with an additional 11 terrain hexes. The 5 to 6 player expansion will come at no extra cost regardless of which edition of Catan Console Edition you own, and we'll share loads more details on this as we get closer to it coming to game. On the horizon. On the horizon is content we're actively developing and will likely come 3 to 6 months from now. Helpers of Catan. Our first expansion is coming to Catan Console Edition in the shape of Helpers of Catan. Some of you may already be familiar with this expansion, but for those of you who aren't, Helpers of Catan will work with the 5 to 6 player expansion of Catan Console Edition and adds 12 very helpful new characters who provide special abilities that you can use throughout your game. For example, let's say you have the robber on your wheat hex. On your turn, before you roll the dice, you could play the digger card. By doing so, you get to move the robber back to the desert, and you'll even gain 1 resource from that hex in the process. More information, release dates, and all that fun stuff will be revealed at a later date. Longest Road. Longest Road is content that's currently in the early stages of development and will likely be coming 6+ months from now. New platform. If you were to spend a few minutes perusing our social channels at DTG Board Games, by the way, you will likely spot a common theme in the comments that many of you have been asking for. And what is that question, you ask? Is Catan Console Edition coming to Nintendo Switch? Well, we are very happy to be able to now say yes. Catan Console Edition is coming to Nintendo Switch and is actively in development right now as we speak by the team at Nomad Games and Dovetail Games. We'll have more information and specifics on this in future, but for now, Nintendo Switch players rejoice in this glorious news. Large expansion. Finally, to end this first roadmap, we wanted to end on something big. Now, This is content that is some way out, so we're going to need to keep our cards a little bit closer to our chest on this one. We don't want any robbers banging on our door. But what we can say is that we are working on a large expansion for Catan Console Edition, and we'll hopefully be able to provide you with some more information on our next roadmap 3 months from now. And that's a wrap on our first roadmap. We hope you are as excited about the future of Catan Console Edition as we are. If you haven't already, follow us across our social channels at DTG Board Games to stay up to date with all things Catan Console Edition. For now though, see you down the road, Catanians.